close to the Golden River. But it's closer together, I started to shiver.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
In the still I was really in a fright. Me alone against 10 vicious men, I remember. I had a chicken and drama. Well, I had supper. But I get away and I run till up by Johnson Corner. They take off in the tail with big stick and holder. Oh, well, the fella in front was a very good pelter. Battle and stone falling, but no place to shelter.
4 minutes after 10 o'clock this Sunday morning, the 28th day of June 2020. New 975 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio this last Sunday in the month of June as we head toward the end of the first half of the year. Thanks to Shazad for wonderful programming this morning. As always, we head to some news and current affairs from this time until 1 p.m. with Ann Duki, yours truly, Ken Ali, our colleague, and he has us on our YouTube channel, RCL U975. We're also on our web on your radio dial. Thank you very much again this Sunday morning for being with us. We appreciate that as we head to the election, our Sunday morning program in which we discuss the issue newsmakers through the phone, on the air, and in person also. And in addition to that, we hear what you have to say on the issues of the day. It's a day in which more crimes are being reported. Several other crimes. You heard about the shootings yesterday. A police officer killed in Morva. So, crimes up and down the country. Unfortunately, the crime situation is what it is. All these crime plans have not yielded anything, it appears. The police count is 223 murders. I always feel that's a conservative figure. So that's that. The Prime Minister threatening to revoke the permission to bars. And people were partying in Chaguanas on apparently Friday night like nobody's business. Prime Minister upset over that, and he has warned that within 24 hours he will take a decision on that. So that more people who are quarantined now have reported have contracting the COVID-19 infection. But of course, just to say again that there are those who are on the vessel enchant. The politics over the last few days, Mr. Pandey returning to the political fray, well, to which he really never left, and now he is reinventing himself through his daughter Mikila Pandey, who has something called the Patriotic Front. We talk about that today, and several other issues. We thank you very much for being with us. We want to get your take on the issues of today. We've left large parts of our program open for your thoughts today, because as we head to the election, there to talk about in particular, we talk about the politics more than we talk about the other things, and we want to get your take on that. You know, there was this storm damage yesterday, especially in north and in northeast, trees and so on. If you're the victim of that, we would like to hear. In addition to that, some people got the electricity and the water services disrupted. If you're among those, you share your stories with us as we go on today. So that's the story. 7 minutes after 10 o'clock this Sunday morning. It's been wet, so we urge you to be very cautious. We're in the middle of the rainy season. It appears that the heavy drift of Sahara dust is not as pronounced today, but of course it was very bad 1 week ago, and a few days ago it also got pretty bad. But I've had some heavy rains, and maybe the clouds and so on has dissipated things somewhat. So that also is a matter in which we are looking to report on, because we want to give you advice to those in particular who have respiratory problems. You would have been hearing about that and other areas of news in terms of protecting yourself. Now, I'm always fascinated about this thing called Leeward Island, something years old, are now being liquidated because of losses, extreme losses. There's a lot of travel up and down the Caribbean, but yet an airline owned and operated by the people of the Caribbean cannot become solvent. And here again, another turn there. So if that is to be shut down, there have to be some other provisions for travel through the Caribbean, and of Caribbean nationhood still can't get going. So another turn in the river there for Liat. So that's another matter also. So a lot of issues as always in Trinidad and Tobago this Sunday morning. We thank you. We have a lot of listeners internationally. We thank you for being with us. We are broadcasting from Couva, where it's pretty wet, pretty overcast, more than wet. It had been raining the last few days, and it's, of course, it's waterlogged in some areas and so on. We urge you to be very cautious. But we have a few interviews lined up. We want to talk to some of the people in the politics, and of course we'll take a lot of your calls. We make a lot of time between now and the 1 p.m. hour to talk with you. Now, one of the matters I try to speak with Michaela Pandey, and it's very difficult to understand why, as a political leader, all of that. But I thought we'd hear her story, what she's hoping to achieve, and so on. There are several small parties coming up, and she, along with her father, and Kenwin Jones, footballer, just emerged to get into the politics. So we are still trying and hoping we could talk with the Patriotic Front and hear their stories. You know, Mr. Pandey has been pushing them and so on. What is the Pandey brings? Or is it Mr. Pandey is trying to relive his political life through his family? He tried to do that with Subhas Pandey, who brought nothing to the politics except the family name. And I wonder about the dynasty that he seems to be wanting to include and to embrace and to foster in the society, the Gandhi dynasty in the society, the Gandhi dynasties, political dynasties. No wonders if Mr. Pandey in his late 80s is trying to relive his political past. And equally, I wonder about Michaela Pandey and what she brings to the politics. I have not known her to win a legal case of worth. I've not known her to be involved in any struggle. I think just like Subhas Pandey, she's probably trading on her father's name. Is that enough to win votes? Would she attract youths, as they're claiming they would, or do the two major parties, the PNM and the UNC, have that sewn up? Well, we'll find that out on election. They claim to be a party that is wooing the youths, and so on. So we would find that out. And there are other parties, of course, the PEP, and then several other small parties. Is there a role for the small parties, or are they all going to lose their deposits again? And what does it say about the PNM and the UNC when these small parties continue to sprout up? Before we take a break, I just want to, I always look for symbolism. And there's something that shows the difference in political culture and in of course, you know, the PNM has found a way to heal the rift with people like Penny Beckles and the Mannings and so on. I saw an ad in the papers this morning, which I'm looking for as we speak. Now, this is an advertisement, and it is not politics, but it indicates to me the different culture of the society in which we live. There is this ad in which those who know the Guardian in San Fernando would know Chancery Lane in San Fernando for many years. Actually, it turns out it has operated from Chancery Lane for 74 years. 74 years. I've always known the Guardian in San Fernando to be at Chancery Lane, and that works for people who have to go and place the small ads, people who have to collect their newspapers, people who have a story to tell. It's in the heart of the southern city. Well, after 74 years, the Guardian is moving to all shopping plaza on the outskirts of San Fernando. Ask who owns that, right? And ask about the ethnic commonality of both of them. And you understand the support that takes place among some ethnic groups. And then you analyze what is happening, where Mrs. Prasad worked with Vasan Bharat because something he may have said some time ago. While Dr. Rowley finds it easy, look, Anna's showing me the ad. Right, yes. While Dr. Rowley finds it easy to work with Penny Beckles, who had strongly criticized him, and I could pull up some of what she advertised for the Guardian, where it says they confirmed there have been at Chancery Lane offices for over 74 years. Right, we're excited to unveil our new offices and so on, and so on, and whatnot. So if you want to put an ad and so on, you have to hop a taxi now, you know, and so on. You want to subscribe to something, but it is these shopping malls have a lot of vacant offices, a lot of vacant space, so they all bond together and they support each other for the common good. And I keep contrasting that with what is happening elsewhere. I look for all these symbolism. I talk about them. I've been talking about them in just lone voice wouldn't make a difference. It's 10:14 in Trinidad and Tobago. We thank you very much for being with us. We have a lot to share with you. We're going to talk to Jerlene John, who is the UNC's deputy political leader, just announced as the 17th candidate of the UNC, La Horquetta Talparo seat. It is going to be a tight race. The PNM's General Secretary Foster Cummings is there, and from what I hear, he's given away a lot of goodies and so on. But Ms. John has been on the ground campaigning for about 2 years. You see her on social media all the time, giving away hampers and shaking hands and candidates and so on as a deputy political leader. So that's one of the issues we have lined up to discuss today at 10:15. And Duki, yours truly, Ken Ali, we remind you that we are on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com, RCLU975. Also on our website, 975radio.com. And of course, on the dial, 975 FM. Your calls are coming in, but come back. We do some interviews and we make a lot of time today for your calls. We'll be right back.
Limited newest location inside JTA Supermarket, C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando. They offer blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, and pregnancy testing, as well as all pharmaceutical products and over-the-counter drugs, along with CDAP prescriptions. Sagicor Carry Care International Medical Card, Guardian Life Provider Card, and Republic Bank points are all accepted at their 3 locations of Eddie's Pharmacy, Rocha Douglas Road, Barraco, GN Building in Pinal, and C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando.
Grand Diamond Hotel invites you to dine in our newest and exquisite grand opening Chai Thai restaurant, LP12 Golden Grove Road, Piaku. Come and enjoy our authentic Thai and Indian cuisine, and our outdoor terrace would be available from the 22nd of June. We can offer you our indoor and outdoor patio and rooftop restaurant dining. All meats halal. For reservations, call 331-5013-320-1093, Chai Thai 19 at
Hi, my name is Nicole Dookie, and I am inviting you to join me alongside Kenrick Jaggernaut on U-Talk, Mondays to Fridays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. We will be bringing you all the information you need to know in the world of news and current affairs. You are also invited to add your voice, so call us live and let's get interactive.
Back. Talk Your Talk is back. This is Mukesh Baburam inviting you to join me right here on U975 FM for the return of Talk Your Talk this Monday, 29th June from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy your favorite segments and feel free to make your comments as we journey together. So join me, Mukesh Baburam, this Monday, 29th June for Talk Your Talk.
18 minutes after 10 a.m. Thank you for staying with us on this Sunday morning of June 2020. We are 10 to 1 with Ann Duki. I'm Ken Ali. Shiva Parasram has us on YouTube. We have a lot as we move on. One of the hotbed seats in the forthcoming general election is La Horquetta Talparo, where Maxi Coffee won in 2015 with 10,428 votes to get 57.50 votes. The UNC's Jairam Simangal got 7,606 votes, or 41.94% of the votes. The UNC's 20 general election is Ms. Jerlene John, whom we have on the line. Good morning, Ms. John.
Good morning, Mr. Ali. Morning.
How are you? How is the campaign going?
Well, to me, campaign is just life and living, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, the campaign is going very good. As a matter of fact, this morning I'm up here. We have a medical clinic, and it's really oversubscribed. You know, it's amazing how much need there is in every sector of the population. Everything that we put our hand to is always oversubscribed, so we are responding to the needs of the people. So the campaign is going very, very well.
Now, you've been close to 2 years. What are your thoughts so far? The date hasn't been named, but you have been identified. The PNM has its General Secretary as the candidate. What are your thoughts on what you've seen on the ground?
Well, over the last two years, the constituency of Long Telparo is like a microcosm of the entire country. It is a great country and filled with surprises, I would say. So you'll find that the farmer, the CPEP worker, the old age pensioner, the civil engineer, mechanical lawyer, all is side by side in this community. All right? So it's a great community that welcomes me as the coordinator with great love and affection. So now that I've been named as a candidate, there was no real transition because people have been asking me whether I will go, because I was very disciplined. The leader having appointed me the coordinator, she always said to all of the coordinators, you are not the candidate. All right, and I abided by that. I was fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do the constituents tell you?
Well, that was really non-existent because it became ill and fell out of sight. So, and that never changed, quite frankly. Go ahead.
You have to make up a deficit of almost 2,800 votes. Are you overawed by that? Are you confident? How do you feel?
No, you see, the political pundits think that politics is static. That is why I tell you politics is life. You understand? Politics is not static. It's not in a lab and you hold it there, in this kind of environment. People living their life day by day, change as it were. So there's no deficit for me to make up right now, as it were. All right? We are doing very, very well. If the PNM, if they will tell the truth about their polls, I'm sure the polls is telling them that they're going to lose the seat. Because we have been working. I know some people want very little. People don't have to a lot, you know, how could they Telparo? Let's say the Telparo, what makes up the Telparo side? That's those communities like Las Lomas, Brazil, San Rafael, Samanet, Monday Nuevo, what we call those communities. What are they asking for? They're asking for the roads to be fixed. They're asking for screening. In Brazil, they're informants. That is hard and that. Yesterday, I was in a place called Salam Drive in Las Lomas, number 3, Susulan. People ask again for very little. They have been waiting since 1984 when they inhabited there. 36 years. For water, they are getting, they're not getting it. Every now and again, the pipe will start to dribble like that. They derive from a 2-inch line owned by a neighbor, and that supplies over 50 households in that community. Why can't they get water from one store directly and pay the bill like everybody does? Why can't they get roads? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the issues. And on the Lahokita side, which is a little more urban, you have the youth, a lot of youth there, and about 90% of them are not employed. Not employed.
Wow, it's as bad as that.
It is worse than that. As that. And what are these people asking for? They're asking for jobs. They're asking to go to school. So I believe what the government has done is to make this thing appear to be hard. It's difficult. So when you want a job, young man at 19, 20, 21, 25, look at people. So you kill their ambition. You kill their productivity. You kill their desire, their wants and aspirations from them. Because people is where you send young people to die.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't go to the bank, put it and buy a car or buy a house. It's not sustainable, it's not long term, it's at least not supposed to be long term. And the wages in system are very low because they are supposed to be a social bridge to somewhere. But this secret that they have from now is a social bridge to nowhere. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes no sense. So when you see, okay, they called me, I went, and just the fact that I went was for me. You're not taking yes for me. This is because you didn't think you would have come. because nobody ever comes back. So they say people sell us dreams. That's how they put it. They sell us dreams and they never come back. So you have yet selling them dreams. So now they're okay, they're there. They respect of their neighbors. They respect of all the stakeholders. But I tell them, change is slow. And because there's the same behaviors before, change takes time. You know, so just be consistent, be respectful, keep doing good things, be decent. You understand? You know, try and earn your money, earn legal money. Look at yourself in the mirror. As a man, then go back to school, you could earn in a higher pay grade, and people respond to these things. It's not magic. It's just you just fight.
Now, your opponent, Foster Cummings, is the General Secretary of the PNM. We have heard generally across the country that the PNM...
And I don't see the PNM anywhere. Well, I mean, when you look on your TV, you see the Prime Minister and he's doing something else. But I don't see him anywhere. So I can't tell you with any degree of truthfulness that I know of that because they are nowhere. It's just the local. They were nowhere on the ground. So they tell themselves they are going to be somewhere in the stars and people are going to respond to them. You know, and that is why they believe they have done so good with COVID. Because they are just nowhere. They don't understand, they don't listen, they don't talk, they don't interact. So the only, you know, so they don't mingle with the people, as it were. Right? I don't see that. So I can't tell you any degree of certainty that.
Yes, John, you are also involved in what's called the One Corridor movement. So you have an eye, a very close eye on the other seats, or several of the other seats on the East-West Corridor. What can you tell us about those marginal seats, Tunapuna, St. Joseph, and so on?
Now, we have been very, very lucky assembling a very formidable group of talent. All right? And not only talent, with this corridor different types. You have to be bright, you have to be nimble, and you have to work hard. You have to work every single day. As I'm talking to you now, I'm in the kitchen of my office. You see, there is a generational gap right now on the corridor. And they don't take it to a country race, you know. Don't feel well because somebody's one race and vote one way or the other. It doesn't happen like that on the corridor. Alright? The corridor is a melting pot of people and culture. There's very commingling in the culture, in the relationships and all of these things. But what I found one more this time. We want to hear your vision for us. And not only that, you have to give us the vision because we are taking any dream. We want to believe that you could deliver on that vision. And we want it now.
And do you think you've convinced sufficient people of that?
Sally, we are going to win, the UNC will win the next election.
Now, there's a poll I'm seeing it at one of the newspapers this morning from NACTA. And NACTA says that it identifies two seats where it says the UNC is behind one. It identifies two seats where it says the UNC is behind. One is the Sangre Grande seat, and the other is, I'll tell you in a little while, I have it in front of me here. But give us a response to that.
Listen, I don't argue and get into arguments and fights and so on. I simply work and kind of see below the radar. I'm only doing this interview because you asked me. What do we work? All right? We work with the people. We are people. When we did the by-election, everybody comes to this house and said they can't win anything. We won Barricade. When we did the local, the PNM, they were up and down, jumping up, celebrating before the last vote was counted. And we are now equalized with the popular vote. So UNC in fact won the local government election. Not more than that. If we had started, we would have won the San Fernando Corporation. Understand? We would have won the San Fernando Corporation. We didn't brag, we didn't boast, and people said all kinds of things about the UNC. So I don't want to argue and get into any fight and also up and so on. I meant of that time. And for you to say, and for you to do what you say you're going to do, because people are not unreasonable.
Right. And finally, Ms. John, the matter of candidates. A lot of UNC members are calling us on the radio, and you hear them speaking and asking about the naming of candidates. So I ask you, as deputy political leader, the party has now named the 9 seats. What's the rollout plan?
Yeah, but all seats. Okay, we have seen for every seat. And at every political leader, in her wisdom, she will send out a press release or decide to name a candidate during the virtual meeting, which, by the way, is one of the best piece of campaigning I've seen in a long time. They could compliment us on that after. So we have screened everything, and that was the important thing. Okay, the UNC, the 18 seats the UNC now have in the parliament, they will win those 18 seats again. The people have nothing to get. Let the Embrad and those demands and so on. And I will tell you of the marginals what is going to happen here. Let's the election. All right? So there's going to be crying time. It won't be for the UNC. Okay, the people of Trinidad and Tobago are not foolish. The people know what is good government and good governance. The people know who is working in their interest and who isn't working in their interest. I don't go out there and bacchanal anybody and slander anybody and lie to anybody. I go out there and I talk with history. And the people are telling me not this time. And they showed up in the local. And I know they're going to show up overwhelmingly in the general election to vote.
All right. A good note on which to end, Ms. John. I know you're in the middle of this medical clinic. We thank you for your time this morning and we wish you the best. The political leader of the UNC and the announced candidate for La Horquetta Tal Paro. I know you've been anxious to get in on the discussion, so let's take a few calls before we take a break. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning.
I would like to wish Jadine John the very best. She's a very hard worker, very conscientious person, and I think everything she tells people, she do her best to deliver. So I hope that she accepts.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, Ken. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to discuss a little something I saw online last night via one of the media. With the screening committee / Kamla Prasad Bisesa to say that they fully supports Dr. Munilal. Now, what I find rather strange about that, Dr. Munilal is a long-standing member of Parliament for Rupuj East and a long-standing member of the United National Congress. I find it very strange that the executive has to meet to tell the screening committee and the political leader that they endorse him and they support him. That rings a bell to me. It tells me that something is not right with the screening process and with the candidate. Dr. Munilal, today in one of the Dr. Munilal has emerged as one of the best debaters in Parliament across all divide. Even PNM supporters said that too. And how can you think twice, or how can you even think about replacing Dr. Munilal? That he should have been one of the candidates I find earlier and let him go on with his work. And that brings me to another point with the Patriotic Front now. We see a lot of stalwart UNC MPs being replaced. Dr. Gopi Singh, Dr. Fuad Khan, and so on. If these people would throw themselves behind the Patriotic Front, I am already hearing on the ground that a prominent UNC person who is no longer with the UNC along the East-West corridor is working behind the scenes with the Patriotic Front. Now that the UNC, when that happens, could the UNC be fighting for survival in opposition instead of fighting for the government? And that leaves a big question. To me, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa is playing her cards close to her chest to replace a lot of these outstanding stalwarts in the party, but she's waited closer to the date to announce them so as to not cause all those stalwarts. They should have been named early, give them a chance to go and work in their constituency, and they could probably help other young new candidates. And I feel this is the beginning of some troubles for the UNC. That's just how I see it, but I know women don't agree with me.
But thank you for your contribution and some strong views and vibrant analysis there. We will share more of that. I want the callers to share their views. I'll probably discuss some of the points as we go on. I certainly want to tell you what NACTA is predicting, but after this call. Good morning to you.
Hi, Mr. Ali. Morning, Dan, and yourself.
Good morning, sir.
I want to echo the sentiment. I spoke at length yesterday on another. How come is 14 of them and the opposition leader alone so far we don't going up? Dr. Munilal, Ramona Ramdial, you name them. None of them, Prakash Ramadar, after listening to them fellows in the Parliament on Friday. You can't get better candidates than that. So where is he keep back? And what disturbs me the most, Mr. Ali, this election will be different to all the other elections. this video conferencing, we're going to bring people that can't talk to the people. That make no sense. And even worse, everything being focused on camera. This UNC and the PNM, you know. Unlike the last one with Camera Mania. Camera Mania went through the window after that last election, and I hope the people, the campaign managers, they focusing on the same thing. Camera Mania, that died when the UNC lost the election. And the spotlight should be on everybody, all the members, and focus the campaign on UNC against the PNM, not Kamla against the PNM. That ain't gonna work, Mr. Ali. I'll tell you straight on. And I mean, as the man said, but you getting better people than Dr. Munilal and them. Right? That's my real concern right now.
Yes.
Forget this Camera Mania thing, that can't work. Yeah, for now.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Ali.
Good morning.
Mr.
Morning.
Mr. Ali, I will wait on the party announce the candidate. I ain't getting into no conflict with that. You see, the UNC is a different party, you know. The PNM will announce the candidate. When Ms. Beckles went up against Dr. Rowley, and there was a it was threatened and all kind of thing by the member for Portsmouth South, and she went to the election with the PNM, and she accepted a position at the United Nations. Amory Brown, who was not, he accepted a position in Brazil. You understand? My understanding is that after the election and UNC lost, Mr. Barrett was offered a senatorial position and he refused. So the UNC is a different kind of a ball game. So I wait on that. But what I want to find out, Mr. Ali, is I don't know if you are interviewing anything, because, you know, when I used to pay my phone bill, Mr. Ali, I used to go by the PlayWay machine and pay my phone bill. And when the COVID-19 came in and they shut the online, the National Lottery shut down, I used to give my daughter, put my money on my daughter's account, and she will go online and she will pay my bill for me, because I am not techno-savvy as she is. You know, so I am seeing last night on the news that Zimbabwe suspended all mobile banking, and they are saying that that is undermining the economy of Zimbabwe. The president has said that he has suspended all online banking, undermining the economy of Zimbabwe. And I am asking if you have any economists on the program this morning, if you can ask them to address that situation for me, please, if that could happen in Trinidad and Tobago. Thanks very much.
Good. All right. We'll follow it up for you for sure. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Ken.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Ms. Luki.
Good morning.
And Ken, I do not know where we're going with this. We say everybody should do discriminate on committee already. And very soon that the good lady will be ruling out everybody. Let us wait and see what is coming forward, and let us work. Whoever comes forward, Dr. Mudilal, whoever, and I believe that Dr. Mudilal sits very safe in the party, very safe, because Dr. Mudilal have his followers in the party. If you understand the politics, Mudilal have a base in the UNC. So there's no bacchanal camp. There's no bacchanal between the leader, the lady of focus, our party of focus. We are seeing our sister John now is the candidate for Lokata at Daparo. She's been working for a very, very long time there. She's been toiling. I know watching some live with the people in the medical is like it's over 100 people they can. Oh, I check there's many Maxi. I do not know if it's a political meeting, but people they are seeing people is hallucinating to Jordan John, the wanter in Lokata Daparo, and give out gas tank. You could give out face mask. You could give out food. The younger generation who see Jordan John trying to change up the stigma, because then when Sister John put up a young fella on a UNC platform who want a change for his life. No. I cannot continue living that kind of stigma. That kind of... And Stuart Young went and tried to destroy. So the African youths of Lokata Daparo, take note. Because what I hear, I was strongly advised that after when Stuart Young went and read out this fella resume, how much thing he do, that mother leave her house running, bawling, holding her son. Because Ken, what advise that mother lost a child already by violence and gunshot. And when she had the Minister of National Security, a high-profile person, he said, "Oh God, oh, we didn't kill my son." And she ran and she son and said, "Come inside," because she gets frightened. I am very, very concerned today about a police shooting in IBC, because Ken, we always say that them boys always have a gun and fire and that's it. But today we are seeing a footage that looking like the police pull up on this vehicle and kill these people. Where is the black light now? Where is these people to protest about these? Again, I understand that these young people must be miserable, but if they don't have a gun in them, Ken, it's to lock them up and get them case up. But Ken, I have more to say about that. But again, before I go,
quickly,
Sister John, they do not wait to see what our political leader is doing. They let us support her and let us see what the fruit we can get out of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. 16 minutes to the hour of 11. Let's bring you up to date on a few things. 3 suspects, and that point Kingsley is alluding to, 3 suspects who police said had weapons with them in a vehicle that was shot dead in Morva yesterday. You know, the police have a new way of calling it. They have a term called police involved. Right? They have a nice little phrase for it.
Decorating.
Yeah, let's take this call and we come back to the other issues. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ken and Ann.
Good morning.
Thinking outside the box again, and this is a cardboard box. It got damp. Okay, you remember the 2015 election? There was an allegation, and the allegation was a cabal. You remember that cabal? You remember there were certain people thrown around as part of it. A lot of people voted against the UNC on that perception. Has that perception been removed from the electorate who voted UNC outside the office, outside government? That is what we have to come to terms with before we run to the conclusion of bringing back any of the perceived cabal. That is my take on it. We have to dissect and have enough cabal. Remember that hung around the partnership next right through the campaign. So if that is still there and we haven't removed it, then the chances are if we go back with it, we might be reactivating the memories of those potential electorates. That is all I have to say, you know. I am neither here nor there, but we have to be very careful. Analyze what the UNC was basically doing to lose the election and work on that and fix it. I am in agreement with what I'm seeing with the political leader of the UNC. The people who have decided to move have started to work with the new candidates, and that is good. We cannot basically start to cause division. Mr. Munira is the best debater in Parliament by no end of the market, but let it wait for the political leaders to make the decision. Don't pronounce and get people angry and agitated. That is not strategy. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, 13 minutes to 11 o'clock. Let me read a bit of what the media is reporting this morning on the NACTA poll. It says the opposition, UNC, is facing pressure in some marginal constituencies. It must win or retain to win this year's general election. We'll go on to that after this. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Again, you know, I just wonder with people in this country, if them real focus is on governance or who govern us. Because everybody here is talking, the issue is about who representing you, who they know, who they don't know, what this one could do and what that one could do. But talk on who they favor and who they are favoring. Does that person, that individual, have anything to do with governance, with the structure of our system, how it is set up, and what you as a person, because you could be the best and most educated person, the most honest and decent person, and when you get in there and you're fit to work for, you just fall in as just another one of the politicians that come through and promise the world and cannot deliver nothing. And people only focusing on who is better and who is best and who they know and what this one do in their life and all this kind of thing, and nobody ain't focusing on that does not work for our country. We have a constitution that does not protect taxpayers' money of the country, but yet we're going to vote again to the polls. Nobody are focusing on changing that to make it fun. Well, we don't have already. We could pick 40 other thieves and put them in parliament and still end up with the best governance this country ever has. Once the structure and the constitution is there to protect and ensure that people follow the rules and laws of the country. 40 are the best, brightest, most educated people who everybody like. Keep on complaining that we don't like this one and we don't like that one. Have a good
morning.
And listeners,
yeah.
I want to say this morning, tomorrow will be a very sad in this country, in the sense of, by holiday in the year on the highway by Pagwan Spring there, where this lady get killed, and 2 days after her husband get killed.
Yes.
And,
Did he get killed or he died as a result of the accident?
Yeah, you know what was for that for me, Ken? I was told by some of the family, right? It's not my family, but by some of my friend's family, that the driver is a 22 years old guy, and he walked with a glass in his hand. He was drinking in the van, 5 of them.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I'm a driver in this country, right? And the way people driving on the road, Ken, is unbelievable. People are not taking the time, right? And there are many, many accidents. I mean, and wife, they leave 4 daughters outside there. 4 daughters, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. I am appealing to your program to ask drivers. I mean, take your time on the road now. Take your time on the road, because you're killing innocent people, very, very innocent people on the road. As I say, I mean, it's a husband and wife burying tomorrow. I just want to say attention to the driver, but I am waiting patiently because I'm going to make some inquiry. What has happened to the driver at this point in time? I really don't have any answer right now.
Thank you very much. We endorse that plea. In fact, we come here in the air all the time, Ann and I, and we plead with motorists drive defensive. The merit point system would have gotten people to drive more cautiously. Well, maybe it has, but you see the recklessness all over the place, and most of it is associated with youths, which is not called. Thank you for that sobering contribution, and we see it all the time. We plead with our motorists. We're killing each other. And drunk driving and all these things continue to be a way of life, and it's part of the lawlessness in Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to you.
Mr. Ken.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Duki, a blessed to you.
Morning.
I want to we the citizens, we the one that punishing in this country, and our taxpayers' money have been abused. Can't go out as an individual. We have to understand, when Mr. Pandit tells Patrick Manning, you will be there when I am here. When I am there, you will be here. People have to understand. PNM, people don't want them to lose because they love corruption. Without this asking these people who was in politics for long, let the young people get a chance. And she's moving very slowly, very cautiously, and very intelligently. The people have to understand, if Mr. Munilal move him, she put Mr. David Lee. Understand, she's a person to go for the pen, she go for the taxpayers. We are not taking taxpayers' money as our own money. We must use taxpayers' money to make our country a better place. One thing I like about Ms. Kamla Prasad is that for this 5 years, which is the better, and we have to choose, and I'm going to choose Mr. Kamla Prasad. Have a blessed one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, let me see how much I could cover with respect to the NACTA poll. It says the UNC is, we have a number of calls, so let's take.
Hello?
Good morning. You're live on the air.
I'm just asking a question, and then you give me an answer. Is there an election if somebody is checking that and make for the MP? Or what about the favorite party or whoever want to be? They could put in some thousand and them asking him to be left.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think the short answer is yes. It is being done in a transparent way with witnesses from the relevant parties. Good morning to you.
My government don't change. Take for instance, look how the opposition asking pertinent questions, and the Prime Minister and the co-hosts just ignoring you, and like you don't have any, structure, you don't have any say as opposition into serious in the government doing. The only say and really say if you get to do you have any system, so no matter who they choose as candidate, you could choose whatever our system in place, and whenever you see how our structure is here, the Prime Minister is a kind of like a ultra powerful person. They can say anything, they can come down push down and say, you're not going to look down for example, building and change, but when they get in there, things so sweet, it suits you, so you have to change.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is how we go. So the only power I see we have right now, Mr. Kennedy, is if you have a group of people in Trinidad who can get together and deal with issues, but put those issues convenient here, objectively, before that's the only power I think we have right now. But otherwise, we turn this election, I mean, somebody has to guide run the country. We will vote and do our democratic right, but at the end of the day, the system in place allow us to get much done more than what's being done.
While that is happening, a lot of the institutions that used to speak out have gone quiet. A lot of the non-governmental organizations, the faith-based organizations, meaning the church. Oh gosh, yes, well, I'm trying to do that.
These are waiting.
Okay, good, all right. We're heading to the top of the hour. I want to, okay, you know what, I'll read the hour break, and then I'll get your responses. So here's what's happening. In fact, let's take this call. We will read I promise you that. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Gentlemen, who talked about what's happening in Parliament and you can't get response answers from the government? Well, that is because of a very weak opposition and a very weak opposition leader. And we said last week, Mish Farage here. That is why all of that is happening. Second point is, why Ms. Bissessa wasn't in the Parliament Friday to support Munilal with his motion. She's the leader of this party. Where she was, she come to support the gentleman on the party. That is not correct. You understand? And at this point in time, if all you look and the UNC people has done with the abbreviation UNC, I wouldn't say what, the color or whatever, that is playing straight in the hands of Dr. Al-Rawli and the PNM. So she's giving away this election partner. All of be observant and look at the sign and see what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. You know, answers we take the break. At this point, we have been saying a lot of points I want to make. I have a lot of notes in front of me to share with you, but let me say this one before the break. We have come here and provided evidence of the government using taxpayers' money. The government has $5 billion domestic money in liquidity here, HSF, and so on. $6 billion conservatively. Some of that is being utilized for PNM campaign, and we brought the evidence out. And we've been saying, when that last caller spoke about Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, we had that conversation on the air here a few days ago. Why not advocate the issue that the government is not playing fair? It's a government that promised campaign finance reform. I asked Ms. John about that, and she seemed not to know or not. This could be a decisive factor, all right, in the election, in what is going to be a very close election. Just to say that, a word to the wise. We're heading to the top of the hour. I want to talk as we go on today. We're going to talk about the NACTA poll. When we come back, I promise I'll give you the update. And we probably try to get on to Vishnu Bisram in New York. He's the man behind NACTA, and see if we could get an interview with him. We're going to talk. I have an update on what one our caller from Long Circular told us about the expanded mobile banking. So we will try to get a finance expert. Something that is happening under our nose as we speak is under a lot of pressure. You may know some because of what has happened. Some people have to send home workers. And, you know, talking about that, even Queen's Park Cricket Club sending home workers. You might tell you, Queen's Park Cricket Club is what we in Trinidad call all businesses, what the Americans call mom and pop shops. Now we hear the Minister Imbert talking about a $300 million loan guarantee off this week. So who is that going to help? People whose businesses already closed? I don't know if we're talking enough on those issues. I'm not hearing it. We also have to talk about the speaker. We have to. I have, as a journalist, covered the parliament for a long time. All speakers are biased, but Bridget Anissa George brings it to a new low. I am convinced of that. I have taken time, research, I've looking at television, and she is hopelessly biased. And we could say that, parliamentarians afraid to say that because they could be drawn before the Privileges Committee. I would love to be drawn before the Privileges Committee because I have a lot of evidence of her bias over 5 years. And it talks about constitutional reform. This is a strong reason why it's not good for the governance of Trinidad and Tobago. Those are my views, and somebody tell the speaker that I'd love to be drawn before the Privileges Committee. I'll walk with all the evidence I have. It's top of the hour. We take a break and we come back.
FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.
Grand Diamond Hotel invites you to dine in our newest and exquisite grand opening Chai Thai restaurant situated at LP 12 Gold Thai and Indian cuisine, and our outdoor terrace would be available from the 22nd of June. We can offer you our indoor and outdoor patio and rooftop restaurant dining. All meats halal. For reservations, call 331-5013-320-109. ChaiThai19@gmail.com. Opening hours 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Takeaway and delivery services are available 11 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. Secure parking and excellent services.
KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, electrical supplies, water heaters, filters and water pumps, plus all parts for Goul, Pentax and Leo pumps. Choose from leading brands such as Cooper, Varma, BTCino, Leviton and General Electric. Call 665-6954 for more information. KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Canoopia.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarket Road, Chiguanas, and Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, as well as Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items, liquor, fresh fruits, and vegetables, not forgetting the kitchen appliances for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations: Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, Endeavour Road, Chiguanas, and Cuba, for a super quality supermarket and quality cash and carry supermarket.
It is back. Talk Your Talk is back. This is Mukesh Baburam inviting you to join me right here on U975 FM for the return of Talk Your Talk this Monday, 29th June from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy your favorite segments and feel free to make your comments as we journey together. So join me, Mukesh Baburam, this Monday, 29th June for Talk Your Talk.
5 minutes after 11, as we continue, we have your calls and we have other interviews planned. Okay, Hans, as we take this call, I want to talk about NACTA. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Ali.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing something else and really didn't hear the first 3/4 hour of the program.
Oh, my. How
you
missed. How you could allow that to happen? Oh,
but
my God.
go for the entertainment a little bit. Oh God, Mr. Ali, you see the leader of the opposition. I am so upset saying it is not a smooth sailing when you want to get in government, Mr. Ali. It's footwork, brain work, handwork, and then putting everything in gear. And I keep on saying it is not as hard as the years gone by, where it is they have a stand and they have a stand. When you support a party and you work tirelessly, going from door to door, getting all the kind of bad words, bad things, abuse and all kind of things for the party, and when it is they're not doing what they're supposed to do, it's very painful, you know, Mr. Ali. You see, when it is the PNM supporters, when they get together, the leader and them, don't matter how wrong they do, look at the kind of money that it is spending from the little bit of money that was saved, Mr. Ali, that is so painful. If they just give everybody $100,000, Mr. Ali, it would have smoked a pipe, Mr. Ali.
Okay.
Mr. Ali knows what took place just before 1986. I was a very young teenager.
86.
Now started to work. And I used to work in Portersville. And in Portersville, I want all the bacchanal. Mr. Ali, I could remember that. I don't want to go back in that sense that I am ready to retire and to live back and rock back and go and visit my grandchildren, Mr. Ali. I want an easier life because it is all the PNM money. It is the country money. And you and I, you see, this morning I heard in the news how much 1,000 people don't get money. I want to know what is the opposition doing with their MPs, getting the people to know who applied and who didn't get. I want to hear that and see.
Very much. 11:08. So, NACTA, whose boss man is Vishnu Bistram, based in New York. I'm trying to contact him so we may get a chat with him. But the press reporting of his latest survey says the UNC is losing ground to the people, the PNM, the People's National Movement, in Toko San Grande, and while gaining ground in Tunapuna, the UNC has moved from an upswing of a tie against the unpopular incumbent Toko San Grande MP Glenda Jennings Smith in a February poll to a downswing, trailing by 10% just a day ago. Some 75% of the voters in Toko San Grande said they have never heard of UNC candidate Nabila Green. Right, they could not give her a fair tried and spoke with her last week, and there's a long convoluted process in the UNC to do interviews. We're fortunate that Ms. John agreed, but it appears that this process...
the party has a procedure
to follow. And so on.
And these candidates are neophytes.
And they're not known, and it's the same point. The poll is...
So they want to go through the process, you know. Well, we were lucky last week that candidate spoke to us.
She probably didn't get the memo.
Know.
She didn't get the memo, right? But Nabila Green tell us, well, party and so on, PRO and communications and so on. So
have to write a letter, formal letter.
Yeah. So we business here. PNM candidate Roger Monroe, an alderman at the San Grande Regional Corporation, is known by 90% of the voters as his family runs a large business enterprise in Toko, San Grande. In Toko San Grande, the PNM leads UNC 42 to 32%, with 6% of voters supporting the minor parties. A fifth of the voters are still undecided, with many saying they are not dismissing minor parties. In Tunapuna, Ford remains the favorite against UNC challenger David Naked. While Naked has been gaining momentum because of his celebrity status as a former national footballer, NACTA said Ford is praised for being the best current parliamentary term. Ford is also praised by voters for attending to constituents' issues and interacting with them. Some dissatisfaction in Tunapuna has caused the UNC to close an 11% deficit in February since Naked was announced as its candidate. The PNM leads the UNC 47 to 40% in Tunapuna, with minor parties polling 2%. 11% of respondents undecided or refusing to disclose voter preference. The poll also showed the UNC Tower and Pointe-a-Pierre, where it currently poll showed UNC supporters are concerned about, quote, the bleeding in support in the East-West corridor, unquote. They're calling on the UNC's leadership to stem this trend and buttress the party's chances through the, quote, profile and eminent candidates. The election lineup, UNC leader campaigned for bringing in newer faces and youths, but supporters feel the party needs to retain some of its, quote, it predicted the general election date will not be beyond September 7th, the 5th anniversary of the PNM's election victory, and so on. And so on and so on. All right, let me see something here. The poll also said that Prasad Bisesa, her fate could be, quote, very well, her fate could, quote, call safe seats, unquote. NACTA said, with the exception of UNC Deputy Leader Jerlene John, who was announced on June 25th as the UNC's La Hokita Talparo candidate, the UNC candidates contesting other marginal seats with no political. It's a Newsday newspaper, and it is something in 2010. I don't know if that is true or not, but I'm just telling you what response we're getting from Ali Mohammed. And he says he does not believe, and so on. I'm getting several responses to that. I'm just the messenger, just report.
More than 10. In San Grande, the last election country was. The score was so much 11,000, about 7,000 or something. So PNM 11,000 something, UNC 7,000 something. I don't know, Naked get 5,000 extra votes. That's number one. Barataya is the same thing. San
don't know Jolene John, how she going to get an extra 5,000 votes to
No,
win
it's 20.
I don't think 1,000 people in La Hospital and Paris, so she going to have to get 1,800. So them, anytime them talking as a loser, but still to the win. I then check that out already. And then Munilal case, tell Munilal something. You see when you do the Friday, that is destroy your put in your coffee. That way you carry that private number, they are good standing. That you did carry the ex-carry workers to find out that why they got it and you can't pay. They're for the lease, or they're for the rent, or the people buy the land who have it for 40 years and 35 years, you might have just that. And the next thing, the executive going to beg for you. You're not supposed to get no seeker fight again, because that is one stupid that I think you carry to move bridges. In a committee, sit down there, and the thing is against you and you never move. Only of you just want this and I will tell Kamala Passan this person to fire Jack. He can go take over UNC later.
Thank you. Thank you very much. 11:15. We'll take some more of your calls, and then we have some other interviews planned. Now, the caller alluded to the result. Jennings Smith won 12,005 votes, 59% of the vote, and Brent Sancho of the UNC got 8,101. So you see the gap, 39.8%. There was a ILP candidate. So you see the gap. I just providing the figures.
4,904 difference in votes.
Right. Oh, that's a large sum. Okay, we are taking your calls. We want to speak in a little while with the Member of Parliament, Rushton Parry, who has been advocating this matter with respect to small and medium-sized businesses, and a lot of them are folding up. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this mobile banking business and some.
When you school, you know, I thought only Kankalang they making. You get new face, you get young people, or there is people we don't know. How you went to supporters like Kankalang, so all your job is to get up election morning and go and vote. That's the most important thing is vote to account. Not all them Kankalang they making it. Me I go sorry.
All right.
Although I got UNC supporter, I make it play. Like too much Kankalang man.
All right.
They never satisfied with what the leader doing. And next one said she didn't go Friday. You don't know what happened. You have to know what happened, and then you will give your verdict. You don't know what happened to the lady. She didn't go. What she had to do. Oh, she didn't go Friday. Oh, gosh, stop this thing now, man. If they continue with this thing, the PLM going to win easy. They won't have no such a work with me. Gosh, I didn't feel like
All right.
All right.
Thank you. I like how she both them, you know. The plaintive language in which she the Kankalang or Kankatang. All right. 11:18. We going to do 3675479. Now we several things we didn't talk about. We have to get back to the speaker. And then McKill Toll is also that is the People's Empowerment Party. 39 in Trinidad and 2 in Tobago. Better United, that is with the electoral strength. We don't know what it is. So out of the blue, we're hearing about that a candidacy by Michaela Pandey. We are going to talk, we're trying to put together a discussion with Kenwin Jones, prominent national footballer, who is part of the team with Michaela Pandey. I know he's a standing footballer, retired now, I think, but I didn't see him as a politician. What led to that? That's an interesting development there. I don't think there's anybody else who has a national profile. Also, I don't know what Michaela Pandey has been doing on the ground for the last few years. And I also wonder, as I said earlier, whether Mr. Pandey is trying to create a dynasty like they're using the last dynasty we are acquainted with is the Gandhi dynasty to achieve. Is this another two-horse race? All of those issues. So we will continue to talk about that today and as we move forward. We take your calls a bit and then we move on to some other interviews. We had 636-7547, 227-5739. One of our court matter authorities have scrapped the mobile banking. So we'll get an expert to talk about that. Good morning to you.
Good morning again, Mr. Ali. Michaela Pandey fighting all that seat. Mr. Ali. And when it is, they have to look at it where it is they're getting the money from. Because if they take an individual, especially in this time, a newcomer in the party, it's obvious the leader have to get the money to pay for election and boundaries for this to register. But if somebody who is there, who are employed and want to go up as die-hard foundation member of the UNC and never go nowhere, and the leader is doing wrong, you must talk about it, Mr. Ali. Because if you love your party, you will identify the wrongs for it to do the right thing, Mr. Ali. But when it is people that drift from the UNC, but I am looking on, and I vote for the UNC already, but I'm not no member of the UNC. Thank you, Mr. Ali.
Thank you very much. Okay, so a lot of political discussion, one way or the other. We continue to take your calls before we move on to some other interviews. Call us 636-7547-139. We remind you that we are on youtube.com, RCLU975, our website 975radio.com, and of course on your dial 975. Okay, I was going to tell you about some other matters.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Ali. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Trinidad. I think that Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar needs informing the population a little bit more about some of her policies. And some of the things I would really like her to give a comment, like in oil field areas and stuff.
Yes.
Building there that has not been in use. It was built since Pandey days. So another thing is this draconian measure that they have with the licensing office and licensed officers and stuff, people should be given citation rather than ticket, because you really cannot see what's happening behind you. Attack on the public as it is now, it's seemingly so, because everywhere you go, down on the citizenry. Now coming out of COVID-19, I don't know if they're using this to a cracked windscreen, for instance. That if you have a little crack on the windscreen, you have to wait for it to import it. Mechanical or electrical failure, that's no fault of the driver.
But just let me say this, I'm not justifying it or so, but that doesn't matter. That came up before the parliament. So the parliamentarians approved of it. I can't recall how the opposition voted, but it is a...
To get a demerit point for a blown tail light, that don't fear the truck, that bulb could go any minute. You follow what I'm saying? They're going to take away the gentleman's livelihood for something he has no control over. That's madness. This is madness, Mr. Ali. It needs to be fixed. Kamala Persad-Bissessar needs to start to come out and tell the people decisively what's one proof in situation like this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to Mrs. Persad-Bissessar on Thursday evening. Number of policy matters. But, only a fraction of the country listens to that. I feel, I've said so openly, the communications people in the party don't like me for that. They say all kinds of things. But those things have to be broken out and explained to people into different social media in particular and elsewhere. I have to be carefully explained, and I don't know if that is taking place. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Ken.
Yeah, morning.
Mr. Ken, why you in Jones not being a part of the party? You only one patriotic like that. And I stand putting you up front. So you are expected to be in the opposition.
Right.
Sandy is the coach and Makela is the captain of the team. She was like a submarine. She knows surface. You don't expect anything from that party because it wastes too much time between Manasi and this year to do anything.
Right.
To make any impact.
Okay.
So Miss Bissessar, she has to outline those jobs and so on, which part she will to put the people and to put people in this position. But I am not going to see any talking of the woman, so she getting 50,000 jobs by that job. But I want to ask them, what them doing to boost the economy? Who continue to lose their job? People continue to lose the business, and they ain't doing nothing to stop the hemorrhage. So what they plan to do is just to let the economy go through like this stagnation, this depression. And everybody gets fired and go parliamentarian position and strength. You have all these things in this place, and if you do that much, and then you put in something else. It's trying to build taxes with all each other things. You have taxing government, you have it now. Do we tax it today?
Thank you very much. Okay, someone has sent me this. In the interest of balance, I want to refer to it. And this, okay, here the headline. NACTA poll shows tight contest in critical Trinidad constituencies. And I'll tell you the date on that article. Morning to you.
Mr. Ali?
Yes, sir.
No, I heard on a program Saturday, so-called UNC supporters calling and saying Ms. Bissessa was not in the parliament on Friday because she was taking a drink. I mean, and I agree with the lady who talk about the supporters causing Kankalang. But grudgingly and reluctantly, I want to supporters who are calling on their leaders to account for decisions that they have taken. You understand? They are holding them to that is the free speech that is in the UNC. That cannot happen under the PNM. Under the PNM, whatever the leader says goes, and everybody put a tail between their leg. Look what went on in Labre. 14, 15 people screening, and they go with that, and they support it wholeheartedly, whether they like it or not. It doesn't happen so in the UNC, Ms. Ali, so I want the quarters for being able to have that ability to speak your mind and to uphold the democracy in the party. Thank you.
Thank you. And in our other conversation, I'll ask him for the evidence of people being able to challenge candidates and so on in the UNC. Good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, Mr. Ken, and good morning, Ms. Ann.
Morning.
Tune in a little later. Just got back. You had to put that first.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Ken. You know, if you was a TV show and you had wanted a promo team for your program, I would say the Indian crab and barrel syndrome program. Because you know, and these people are easy, you know. I like the lady who call and say,
I will get some graphics for that. I could see the graphics already.
It get me disgusted by with hearing them. I don't know what these people really want. You know, and think and like the lady too. Why, you know, I have a wish that PNM win back election. Let her call and Ken when after the election PNM win back and they call, I want you to tell them what you had to tell them. All right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I want to read this. You see, I try to put balance in everything we did. I was telling one actor because I read the report in Newsday this morning. Right? I read that at length. And then one of our callers, I can lose it or no, I ain't lose it yet. One of our callers sends me a clipping here. Well, an electronic clipping. Here is the headline. NACTA poll shows tight contest in critical Trinidad constituencies. This is how it will be difficult on the East-West Corridor, the UNC, and so on, Tunapuna, St. Joseph, Sawa, Barataria, and so on. Things will be tight on what people they interview and so on. Fourth. But you know what's the date on this article? May 4, 2010. So NACTA was predicting a close election in 2010, which the UNC won hands down. There's a balance. I want to put all of that on the table. We have no agenda. We're just reporting the news, really. Right? So NACTA did say what it's according to this report here that someone has just sent me. I think it's Ali Mohammed. Alim, thank you very much because, you know, we try to be balanced in what we do. 11:30 in Trinidad and Tobago. We want to... there are several points that come up when we talk to our listeners that I want to respond to. We have spoken about the speaker and the motion. And I want to say again, I think, I know it's coming to the end of the term and the speaker is becoming less and less relevant, but I think the speaker has been very biased in her ruling. I have seen some of the issues, I've studied it. The research was done elsewhere, and I'm not taking any credit for the research, but there's it on her bias over the last 5 years. We're going to take a break and come back with another interview. As we do that, you would have been hearing it on the air. I just want to tell you we have some programming change here. And which, of course, you are going to welcome. One of our colleagues, Nicole Duki, joins Kenrick Jagannath on the morning show, 6 to 9 a.m. from tomorrow. You would look forward to that. Equally robust discussions on the issues of the day. And Mukesh Baburam settles into where he gets to talk cult here and to play music and to share discussions with you and to give us his hearty laugh. You know, I think he should, and Bull Pistol and whatnot, every evening, every weekday evening from 6 to 9. So we will pass the baton to him on evenings. And it is 28 minutes to the hour of 12. We take a break and we come back.
Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Canoopia, for all your plumbing supplies, water heaters, filters and water pumps, plus all parts for Gould, Pentax and Leo pumps. Choose from leading brands such as Cooper, Varma, BT Sino, Leviton and General Electric. Call 665-69 for information. KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road.
The 22nd of June, our indoor and outdoor patio and rooftop rooftop restaurant dining. All meats halal. For reservations, call 331-5013-320-1093. Our email address, chaithai19@gmail.com. Opening hours, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Takeaway and delivery services are available.
Perry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items. In Trent City, Endeavor Road, Chiguanas, and Cuba. For quality items, super quality supermarket, and
to join me alongside Kenrick Jaggernaut on YouTube, Mondays to Fridays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. We will be bringing you all the information you need on current affairs. You are also invited to add your voice. So call us live and let's interactive.
25 minutes to the hour of 12. Let's take this call. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Hi, morning, Ken. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Beautiful program. Do you think this, in the mind of the UNC hierarchy, that this will be a good election to lose?
In the mind of the UNC hierarchy. You there? You seem to have gone. I understand the point. I sometimes wonder, because I fear social turmoil as we move.
3 days we have been experiencing severe bad weather. I think a fair amount of work has been done by the Ministry of Works, the Drainage Division, in terms of clearing water courses and so on. And there has been no issue of flooding throughout. There was some high winds and so on, and thankfully I have had no confirmation from the disaster management unit whether we had any sun. So I think we're in the clear up here in Mayaro, and we're looking for some sunshine over the next couple of days.
And no flash floods, right?
No.
Right, okay. Now to the matter we want to talk with you about. Now you, more than anybody else in this country, you deserve a lot of praise, because you have been piloting this issue of support for micro, small and medium, and employed the most number of workers, and the number almost 20,000 help and community help and so on, mom and pop shops as the Americans call it. Now a lot of them are in trouble. I know you've been focusing on that. Now we're hearing the Minister of Finance call but finally saying that they're going to give out some loan guarantee and so on after over 3.5 months of the COVID lockdown. Give us an overview of how you see things.
Well, one of the biggest challenges a lot of businesses are feeling right now, and I speak more specifically for those in Mayaro, and I suspect it will be the same throughout the country. Months after, is it too late? And you have several of them have already closed their doors. Whether they're in a position to reopen back, well, that's left to be seen. Now, I take note carefully of what has transpired in terms of how the SME loans are going to be executed. And in the newspaper today, the minister has an outline in terms of where to look for the information from the banks. And what I did notice is that there are ceilings now have been placed on the support. So, for instance, prior to all there wasn't any ceilings placed on the loan. So today I'm reading that businesses with a turnover over $1 million per year, there is a ceiling of $372,000 in terms of the loan guarantee. Now, you have some small, more micro-enterprise businesses that may be in the vicinity of $5 to $10 million. Their salaries alone are more than $375,000 a month. So I'm trying to understand the logic in terms of how some of these ceilings were met. Will there be this? Who is making the applications for the loan? Which business? Whether that ceiling can be adjusted upwards at the end of the day. More interesting, Ken, I also noticed that businesses that would have a turnover of less than $1 million per year, they, through NEDCO, will be entitled to a grant. Now, we must be careful here. A grant is not a loan, a grant is a gift. So, I'm always fearful that governments take the political opportunity to give in an election season. While you have NEDCO, which is to not be able to collect back on loans and so on over the years.
That's right.
Now the state is saying that, look, we would be able to go to NEDCO and you will be afforded a grant. Now there has been no details provided as to how this grant is going to work. So, I mean, I am grateful that there is a system that is going to be put in place to help small businesses, because the key thing is to put people to work. If we don't put back people to work, we are going to have a disaster on our hand in terms of the demands on social services, on the demand of your local government, MPs, your other authorities, because that is a big issue facing us in rural communities right now. So I have to wait and see how it's unfold. I went onto the website this morning. The application process for the SME loan is quite cumbersome, if that's the word I want to use. I mean, they are asking for everything plus the kitchen sink under the planet. Now, while it is not to apply for a loan through the banking system, I think the fact that you're targeting a lot of businesses that may not have been in the too formal business and industry, but yet they play a significant role in the business sector, I think they are going to be denied an opportunity. So, for instance, NIB clearance, VAT clearance, tax clearance, these are all requirements that you would need before you can even submit the application for the loan.
And while the grass is growing, the horse is starving, because...
absolutely.
Yeah, and this is after the COVID and after a lot of businesses were closed. Now, I have looked at some of what has taken place in other developed countries, in Britain in particular, in Canada, in the US, and so on. And they have created what they call a stimulus package, and put aside significant success in that they digitize the entire process, electronic processing and so on. So it was swiftly, and they were able to rush to the assistance. Here it is coming, I don't want to say too little, too late, but it is coming several months after.
Yes, that question in Parliament at the last sitting, the minister did give an explanation for that. You know, he said that the legislation which requires how loans from the state is given was inconsistent with what they want to do. That and all has, dragged on the process. But I'm saying is that, we are looking at what other developed. Why are we keep falling asleep at the wheels? Because I am saying that it is... How long will this process take now? First Citizens Bank, according to the paper, is saying that the first loan will be granted by Thursday of this week. But I will query that. Right now, if you have to go to get a tax clearance, it's taking you weeks. So if a business has to get a tax clearance before you get a loan, that stimulus loan, I can't see how by Thursday somebody's going to get one of those loans. I can't see it happening.
Yeah, and you have been at the center of this matter of the disbursement of the social benefits that came through your MP's office. And I remember you said very, very slowly, and several of your colleagues have been saying that too.
Yes, in a disaster in terms of the efficiency of that process. While I can tell you, a few people have reached out to me and said, well, MP, look, we've gotten through the grants. I mean, the vast majority is still waiting. And while if they do get the grant, whether it's this week, next month, remember this money was supposed to come at a period of time to ease the burden of the COVID-19 restrictions. That pain that my constituents would have been feeling, and that money would have helped ease that burden. Getting it 2 months from today is not those very same people, they will not forget how they feel. In this upcoming election, I am sure of that.
Do you fear, I know you touched on that at the start of the conversation, but do you fear a lot of businesses closing, a lot of workers losing their jobs?
Well, it has already started to happen, so I think the fear is founded in good evidence. When you look at, up to this morning, I think in the newspaper, you saw that Jaffa, a restaurant in Port of Spain, has shut its doors.
Yes.
And that is one of the oldest eateries in terms of the cricketing fans at the Oval for many, many years.
And that was supported by a lot of middle-class people and professionals and so on, businesses that depend on the working-class people for its success. So.
And now you have the Prime Minister threatening to shut down every single bar because of the delinquency of a few. And in this country, we always have the delinquency of the few. It means that a little more rigid approach has to be taken, especially when this social gathering is so important, the controls of that. So rather than shutting the whole industry down with the bars and so on, get the enforcement going, remind, these bar owners, look, things in place.
Yeah, I would have thought that is the way to deal with it, in that you enforce the law and those who are dealing. But he wants to shut down an entire sector because a few people have breached the law.
And it has been because I've looked at some of the bars that have reopened in the constituency here, and I can tell you our bar owners are extremely responsible. They have done the right things. I saw in some areas they turn over some chairs on the tables and they left some open. So where you are seating, you have adequate seating and so on. I've been to one in Mayaro yesterday, which I was tested. I was encouraged to sanitize my hand before I was seated. So I think there are bars that are being responsible, but don't penalize the entire industry.
He's saying, the Prime Minister was saying yesterday in 48 hours he'll make a decision.
We cannot, we should never, I always detest any decisions being made by royal edict. You know, where is the evidence before you make these types of decisions? You can't run a country by every time you turn on the left side or the right side of the bed, you come up with a decision and you make it law. It doesn't work like that.
No, it should not. Indeed, that's right. MP, we are in the middle of the election season. You have not been announced, but I think you're one of the most popular people in terms of representatives, elected representatives. I read endorsements of you all the time on social media. What's happening in the large constituency? How mobilized are the people?
Well, I can tell you, notwithstanding the fact that a candidate has not been announced, we did not wait. You know, we have a very disciplined machinery here in Mayaro, together with the party executive here in Mayaro, the work of the key activists. We have been doing a lot of the groundwork. Mayaro will be successful at the polls in terms of favor for the UNC. And like everybody else, we wait with bated breath for the announcements, and I stand ready and willing to serve and I look forward to great things over the next 5 years.
What kind of election date? I keep asking everybody I speak to speculate on an election date.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of the party.
No, your own sense.
What I can tell you is that my gut feeling, if there is a going how the PNM operates, September 7 being an anniversary date of sorts for the PNM, September 7 could be a date that the Prime Minister has in his back pocket. Goes on recess, the Prime Minister could take the opportunity to dissolve Parliament at that time and call the election, call the date.
Has the PNM formalized, as far as we know, Bonnie Mahabir Singh as the candidate?
Yeah, is the candidate for Mayaro, and what I can tell you, he has been very active, very visible. He's on the ground. He's doing what he's supposed to, PNM candidate.
Right, and he is familiar to some people. He has had some UNC ties in the past?
Oh yes. He has been one to have traversed political parties over the years, for want of a better word. He's a businessman like myself. He's well known in the region as well. So it's going to be an interesting political battle of sorts. I know he's very well respected, just like myself. And if I am given the nod,
a short campaign, the way we're going, it looks like
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, MP, thank you very much for your time, and we'll stay in touch with you. Thank you.
No problem.
much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Take care.
MP for Mayaro, Rushton Parry. 11 minutes to the hour of 12. We'll continue to take your calls. We have more to discuss with you as we head to 1 p.m. And Duki, yours truly, Ken Ali, with Shiva Parasram, who has us on youtube.com, RCL U975. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning to you. Ken, how are you all doing?
Good. Good. Well, it's pretty cold here.
Why the UNC people bickering so much? They have not learned the lesson over the years. Goodness, they need to go down. To call it long time, the old people say, I'll give you a butu.
A butu.
Yeah, a butu, they used to say. A big stick.
Yeah,
That's what they need on the back, man. Take too much of pressure already. This government don't know what the left hand doing from the right hand. It was the NIS thing, as I told you.
Yes.
People not talking about it on the program. Promising. Up to now, so many people ain't get a face mask for less a hamper. Only promises. And can this online banking, you have to talk about this, you know?
Yes.
It's too confusing. You have to get somebody to talk about.
Yes, I would. I would.
Yes. And all the best and good luck to UNC and stop the bickering.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much for your study hour of 12. We continue to take your calls. We are going on till 1 p.m. So we want to hear from you on these various issues. We're at 636-7547, 227-5739. We get in some messages too. I just want to acknowledge a few messages, but we will line up some other interviews. And well, before I get to the messages, Mr. Basdev Pandey has written a comment. He says, I've waited 10 years in the hope that there would be a change in the politics of our divided country. Alas, things have gotten worse. There have been many deserving criticism and justifiable complaints from various quarters of the society, but few have come forward with a credible solution for getting us out of the mess. It is because of this decided to return to the political arena. I call upon all those wishing for change to join me in this struggle to unite our society, to give youth a chance to usher in a new kind of politics, one without lies, half-truths and innuendos, bacchanal, rumor-mongering, and false promises, to join me in the patriotic front to bring about a party of her own, and with some youths. And what's the name of the footballer? A footballer. We're going to talk to a footballer, you know. Mr. Jones, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ken. I'm a first-time caller.
Thank you for calling.
And I'm a regular listener.
Thank you,
when
sir.
I say regular, I mean regular.
Okay, thank you very much.
I've been listening to, all the comments. And a lady this morning called, and I don't know the lady. I just want to say I love that lady. Secondly, I think it was yesterday, there's another lady who regularly calls. I love that lady also.
I've noticed you only love the lady call.
Those ladies have made the most sensible contribution on the radio. Now, let me tell you what they said. We keep harping about this, that, and the other, and blaming this one and that one. And we fail to recognize the fact that we have the power. We have the power. We have election time coming now, and we have the power to go and do the right thing. And I mean, that is the most sensible thing that I have heard over a long, long time. We have the power. Stop the bickering. Go and cast our vote in the right place. Now, we don't have to go through what we have been going through over the last 5 years. And let me say this is my personal opinion now. Apart from all the things, the UNC did and accused of not doing, let me tell you something. This is me. I live in Couva, right down here. And in my community the majority people are poor people. When I say poor people, I mean down to poor people. The boys working in the sea down Calibre, I live in the area, they're not even catching fish. Come and see they cutting down VAT by this and 12%, but the price in the grocery, every time my daughter go to the grocery, Daddy, everything going up. And they say they're cutting down. Listen to me, my brothers and sisters of the public, think about one issue. All the other issues, the kind of foolishness this government do, and unemployment, 100,000, and petrol train and all that. Oh God, I'm not going through that. Think about where your next meal coming from, and how much you have to pay for it, and you don't even have a work, and fish you ain't even holding in the sea. So the people have to think about the most important thing. This is me. I'm a poor man too, as a matter of fact. And food, the family, I know people, I know of a friend or anything. Oh God, she didn't have food, I feel sorry. And it have a lot of people. Food, that's what I'm talking about. And Kamala provided food for people. This government, oh goodness, taking food out of their mouth. So, again, those two ladies who keep making the point, we, the people, have the power. Go and cast your election. And let me end by saying this. If you like the life that you have been living over the last 5 years, go back and vote for PNM. Go. If you like, do the correct thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for your call. Thank you, and we appreciate that. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Senali.
Morning, sir.
And your
colleague, Anne. Yes.
Yes. I just wanted to say, Pandey is so disgusting. I mean, why does he... the thing is, he was one who said that any third party would be splitting votes and making the PNM stronger. And that's exactly what he's trying to do.
Why do you think Mr. Pandey is entering the fray again? Is it that politicians just never die? They embarrass themselves until death? What really is Mr. Pandey?
It's just vengeance against Kamala. Nothing more than that. And because they're not going to reach anywhere, he and his daughter. They're just going to hell. They're in love with the Rowley. That's what he's doing. I can't understand, man. That man should go and do his gardening and rewrite his book and enjoy his grandchildren if he has whatever, and just leave Kamala alone if he can't support her. Because what they're doing is indirectly helping the PNM to win. They love how the country is going. They're doing what they're doing. They want to just get worse and worse and worse. And for God's sake, talk to God and ask for inspiration to do the right thing and power.
Thank you. Thank you, the manner in which he proffered that. And I really try to figure out, and I'm not asking this in a rhetorical sense, what really inspires Mr. Pandey to want to get back into this? I think the answer he offered there is a plausible one. I think Mr. Pandey has some issues with Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. It is a blood sport, really. Mr. Pandey won some wars, he lost some wars. I can't really understand his justification for wanting to get back and trying to live his political life now through his story. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Ken.
Good morning, yes.
I'm calling for I'm caller.
Yes, thank you for calling.
And I never miss the program.
Oh, thank you very much.
To let you know, August, but Sir Rowley said that he don't want to interrupt the SEA exam.
He does not want, sorry?
He don't want to interrupt the SEA exam, which started for the 20th.
The 20th.
Before, and he don't want to leave it for September when we open. To disturb the school after a long time. And I heard grapevine, that's the sources of family youth. So it's on the 20th. That's why I heard 24th of August.
Okay. Thank you. Listen to my comments on the air. Now, I said, and would testify in our callers, the placement of the SEA exam on August 20th and the fact that Dr. Rowley has stuck strong to that date to do with how he's placed in the general election. Now, I've said before, I said again, I think this leadership of tutor is a good one. And what's the lady name? Miss De Freitas?
Antonia De Freitas.
Yeah, I think there's a good lady, and she is less trade union agitated, and she's more professional, and she advanced really good reasons why it should be held later. And in the parliament, Rowley stood strong on that, and I feel he's dovetailing all of that into the election date. We'll continue that after this call. Good morning to you.
Good evening.
Hi. Well, your boy is back tomorrow, eh?
Yeah, boy, yeah.
So you're priming up for that.
My presents, man.
Oh, God, all the presents.
And I want to
She
say...
want food and water and thing, She want Mukesh on the radio.
She don't pray for we.
You see? Yeah.
Yeah,
I notice you don't pray for Anne and I, eh? But that's all right.
Listen.
Go ahead.
Listen.
Go ahead.
I want to say this over the...
Yes.
God bless Mr. Anand Rampasarsi for bringing it back. They live and live long.
Wow.
Good. Forget Rowley and Kamala.
What did you just say here?
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
John Tobago status going to the dogs.
Uh-huh.
And hear what they say here again. Hear what they say again, Mr. Ken.
Go ahead.
Just a minute.
Mm-hmm. All right, we could read the article. We'll read the article for...
You read it already?
Yeah, no, not yet, but we'll do
and
that.
Bars and them, they say the bars, they're going to shut down the bars and go here. I never read.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
Now, bless you and all the best.
Yes.
Okay, thank you,
Mukesh.
Mukesh.
A little more. A lot more
than
our great friend. We thank you. Now, the PNM met the EBC, and they're happy with the EBC preparations. The UNC met the EBC. They're not happy with several things. And I have also raised, apart from the using of taxpayers' money for campaigning, and there is the issue of placing, I'm raising again how a lot of Venezuelans getting ID cards and so on. Good afternoon to you.
Hello again.
Hi.
Ken did cut their salaries?
No, and don't expect that to
Well,
happen.
no, this is the time. We have to push for that. Because everybody's suffering with this virus. Hundreds of thousands of people still not working.
No, the politicians who ever take, well, not in Trinidad. Up in St. Lucia, they
In
take a
New
big
Zealand, the Prime Minister didn't
Yes.
take her salary.
And she's one of the most popular leaders in the world, Jacinda Ardern.
All over the world that have been doing that.
Mm.
Is their salary?
Well, the pensions, the voted pension.
Pension. Well, I have no right.
Thank you very
And
much.
Gary not going south. See, all the weapons still going north.
Say again, please.
Gary not going south to collect the weapons at the Itakas.
Okay.
Yes, but the police officers are the ones getting the weapons, and the police crooked, and Gary knows that. But he doesn't have the backup from the government.
Mm-hmm.
And his
But
own
you have to
officers
convict
so
them
corrupt.
first.
His own officers so corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven help us all.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We're going to take a break. One of the things we talk about is some of the businesses that are opening. We also want to talk about the Turn the Sod again for the third time for this San Fernando waterfront. You know, where does the mama guy stop? On the eve of another election, they turn the sod again. Just when we say, the work, they do that. And then they build a bridge over the Sipero River at Crossing. And you would think they build a highway. If you see this massive activity around that. Anyway, all of that when we come back.
FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.
Grand Diamond Hotel invites you to dine in our newest and exquisite grand opening Chai Thai restaurant situated at LP 12 Golden Grove Road, Piaku. Come and enjoy our authentic Thai and Indian cuisine, and our outdoor terrace would be available from the 22nd of June. We can offer you our indoor and outdoor patio and rooftop restaurant dining. All meetings call 331-5013-320-1093. Our email address chaitai19@gmail.com. Opening hours 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Takeaway and delivery services are available 11 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. Secure parking and excellent services.
KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Canupia, for electrical supplies, water heaters, filters and water pumps, plus all parts for Gould, Pentax and Leo pumps. Choose from leading brands such as Cooper, Varma, BTCino, Leviton and General Electric. Call 665-69 Information. KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Canupia.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarket of Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Trin City Industrial Estate. In Trin's Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items, liquor, fresh fruits, and vegetables, not forgetting their bed and bath section, and kitchen appliances for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations. Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Cuba. For quality items, Super Quality Supermarket, and quality.
Visit Eddie's Pharmacies Limited newest location inside JTA Supermarket, C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando. They offer blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, and pregnancy testing, as well as all pharmaceutical products and over-the-counter drugs, along with CDAP prescriptions. Sagicor Carry Care International Medical Card, Guardian Life Provider Card, and Republic Bank points are all accepted at their 3 locations of Eddie's Pharmacy Limited. RS Building, Rocha Douglas Road, Barrackpore, GN Building in Pinal, and C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando.
It's is back. Talk Your Talk is back. This is Mukesh Baburam inviting you to join me right here on U975 FM for the return of Talk Your Talk. Talk Your Talk.
12:08, so he's back tomorrow evening, just after Anna and I end our show at 6. Mukesh Baburam is on. Now we're getting a number of messages. As we take your calls, let's take the calls first, and I'll read some messages after. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, Mr. Ken,
Yeah.
that is Spit Road Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, we lost you. 672275739. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Mr. Kenali.
Good afternoon.
I think what we realize, the police service have some outdated regulations and regulations that are not relevant to the day. So what Mr. Gary Griffith needs to do is we need to examine, remember, every worker in Trinidad and Tobago work employed under a contract, right? Contract. So the police contract does not allow Mr. Gary Griffith to fire anybody due to the contract, right? Revisit the police contract where they work on that. Any police
That's where the Police Service Commission comes in. But they move so very slowly.
Right. So they need to they need to have some relevant update. And if they check out, I mean, it's really unfair to the taxpayer to be paying a man that you need a service. You pay, he getting full pay, and he home doing something, and then we need this service. Not to say we have too much police, we shortage of police. You know, that need to be. I know these are the things we want. These are the issues we want to hear. PNM seeing how they're going to deal with it, because we need the opposition.
Both sides to address these issues.
Yeah,
and the matter of the judiciary, the slow pace of the judiciary, this is also relevant to this matter.
Mr. Kennedy, the guy from the Ministry of Works, he's the guy that piloting the MEREC system. I forget his name. That guy, I know you're saying, when you look at the amount of cases, traffic cases that are in the courts, you need to separate this thing. You can't have this thing bundled together. Because when you have petty cases, like if I pelt you with a stone or some neighbor bacchanal, then you have the traffic, then you have other cases. So the courts really need to be separated.
Yeah, but we'll have another conversation to do. We continue to make up for the inefficiency of the court system, the judiciary. So instead of justice being served, they ask you if you have from all tickets, we pay 50%. So if you are not guilty, you have to give them 50%. We are continuously talking about the state of the judiciary, where it's one of the agencies. Thanks a lot. Let's hear another caller. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon again. Was that Kingsley?
Kingsley. No.
But wait now. That's a different Kingsley.
No. That wasn't Kingsley. Kingsley called earlier. He's very subdued these days, eh?
That is one of our callers from...
I think they have him on good behavior.
Road.
Yeah.
Yes, but
that previous caller is from Sanko Road.
Yes. Mr. Ali, excuse me. Pandey doesn't want to win no election. Mr. Pandey going up there because he has this, I can't find a word. Since he lose the internal election.
Tabanka
oh God, Mr. Ali, that word to Eva. You see, at election time, I just remember the outcome of it. When they was campaigning, and soon as he elected, announced that the PNM won. You know what Mr. Pandey said? He won. The NAR lose. He won. You know why? The PNM, I don't know if you could remember that. The election.
Yeah, thank you. It's a cultural thing. I start the program by talking about The Guardian, and I hope you remember that point I made in the first hour. Maybe if we have time, I'll come back to that, talk about the cultural difference. Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon again, Mr. Ken.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, there's one in Twan. And you feel if Nicola Pandey win the election, Oliveri as she deputy, and appoint Gary Griffith as National Security Minister, I'll go on with that.
All right.
What are you telling us here? All right. A message from one of our listeners. He's talking about the parliamentarians' pension. He said that they have lumped the basic salary and housing and car and telephone and vacation, etc., to calculate it. But the ordinary man's pension is based only on basic salary only. This is obscene. This is why, again, all the institutions are broken down. Years ago, Salary Review Commission, in which it is improper, it is clearly improper that parliamentarians set their own salary, right? How proper could that be? So they have the Salaries Review Commission, but parliamentarians, and let's acknowledge, find a way to overlook that and to come with their own system that they set their own salaries, right? And Dr. Rowley, his explanation come in Parliament and said, well, you know, over on Padmore Kitchen Hell to pay salary, to pay his bill, and this one, Marilyn Gordon, I think. You came, you offered service to the, well, let's call it service to the country, but they came and they work. You know, that is any more service than a doctor or a lawyer or a taxi driver or a health worker and so on. But, and they go home. Why we have to mind them all the time? And why politicians on both sides argue for us to give them this pension? And as you writer say, I will read from it again in a little while. But good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ali and Ms. Vicky.
Good afternoon.
Yes. You know, since the past we cannot change the past. But the caller saying in the NAR, when the NAR won, Mr. Pandey said he won. But people have to remember, Mr. Pandey made a great start, not 10 or 12 seats, for just 2 seats in Tobago. Because people would have accepted Mr. Robinson rather than Mr. Pandey. Because, they, you know, when it's such a racist, he won. So he really made a big sacrifice for giving up all those seats to make Mr. Robinson the leader with just 2 seats. So his contribution in that. And then even now, this is a democratic country. No matter who owns the open party, it's up to them. 100 people can go on open card to vote for. And because right now the issue is not about Mr. Pandey and Michaela. We have so much issue in this country to deal with, just to focus on them. You understand? Mm-hmm. So what's going on in Michaela and Mr. Pandey? All the politicians come out and retire and in Parliament. He's the one push them forward and what's wrong that if he could even, whether they make or they make, they're not going to make a dent according to some people. So they can't ask for the PNM, they can't subtract from the USC. You understand? They will get. I don't know why people are making that a big issue. And nobody split a vote. Your vote belongs to nobody. No one owns your vote. You could vote for any party and anybody you wish for. So it's just nothing like split vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You know, where do I go? So many things. One person, one of our listeners from New York, she doesn't think there's much cooperation among the UNC. Somebody else telling us commenting on the NACTA poll of 2010 and says that Vishnu Bisram, almost word for word, this is what the person said, 2010 to 2020, almost word for word. Of course, that poll in 2010 it was wrong. It was wrong. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ken and Ann.
Good afternoon.
Do you remember the famous moral and spiritual value?
Yes. Yeah.
Did that gentleman tell us something about me since then? Mm-hmm. I think he was sending us a signal, you know?
No, yeah, well, more than a signal, he was clearly saying there is no morality in the UNC government.
Right.
That's clearly what he was saying.
I mean to say, Pandey, why don't they buy him a gift? A nice pair of boots, so he can put it on and ride out with dignity. Now, the other thing I want to lash why do they want to continue to live off? Rowley just talk from one side of the mouth, but he doesn't want to wean off the taxpayer until thy kingdom come. He wants the taxpayer to mine him until you're ready for the great beyond. Think about it. Mm-hmm. He's saying that we had a wean off earlier, but we passing laws in Parliament to benefit ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you. You're absolutely right. This is why they set up the Salaries Review Commission. There's a man named Mitra Sinanan. He used to be the chair of that. Many, of course, he has since died. But I think they still have the SRC. What they're doing. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon again, Ken.
Good afternoon.
I can remember when Dr. Eric Williams said, when I speak, no dog bark.
Yes.
And then, after he said, who don't like it, get the hell out of here.
He did.
And up until that time, so no, I never hear PNM say Eric Williams was wrong to do that. Everybody stop quiet, and they really do what he said to do. And up to today, the PNM is like just going to contradicting the leader and thing, you know. Mm-hmm. Everybody just stay quiet.
They call it maximum leadership.
Maximum leadership, that is it. Yeah, because they heard it. If everybody go to say do this, do that, do the next, where are they going? Mm-hmm. Too many cooks will spoil the soup. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Another thing, Pandey. Oh gosh, Pandey was a man I did like. But you know, it's a time for everything. Why Pandey don't stay nice, good, respectable old man. What he going into politics now to do? Oh gosh, it's like I getting fed up at he too, you know. I get fed up at he, I tell you.
Cassie, thank you. I like the plaintive way in which she speaks. You know, I want you to encourage you to continue to call us and share your thoughts. I want to, let's take these calls. I want to tell you before call. Just hold a second. Indira Sajiwan, everybody knows of her. She is a commentator and so on. She says here on social media, I counted 12 closed down businesses in Twin City Mall today. 12. Plenty of the malls they have a lot of vacant window shops. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Ali.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Sajuan is right. So much business places are closing down.
Yeah.
And Mr. Ali, when it is they're going to give this grant to small business people?
Well, we were talking about that a while ago.
Mr. Ali, you know, there is a Mr. Ali, talk is cheap. And you know, when the government do wrong thing, I just say they do wrong thing. Because it has some people, Mr. Ali, they are not professionals. They just know how it is to do whatever they're doing, and by the roadside or a little shed or something so. Yes. And when they had to close down, Mr. Ali, and most of the things were spoiling, they didn't have nowhere to turn to, Mr. Ali. They didn't have no NIS number and all those things. And so the thing about it, I only hope and I pray that those people who are in the opposition, the MP should call in all those people who put in the application, make photocopies, and who haven't gotten anything. Back to Mr. Pandey. If Mr. Pandey had the 12 seats before 1986, if he keep the 12 seats, and Mr. Ali, understand, because it's so much 33-3. And then it was when he said, well, okay then, the San Fernando seat with Mr. Manning, they had a spoiled vote or something. So they said, okay, let him go. So that is how they managed to think Mr. Ali. So the NR would have still won the election if Mr. Pandey, the contest, the 12 seat are gone.
Thank you very much. So many other things we want to share. Let me deal a little bit more with Indira Sajiwan and her post. She says, of course, 12 businesses closed down in Twin City Mall that she counted. There will be more. Now, this does just shut down as businesses consolidate or new models of operation, maybe online, but and so on and so on. But of course, all of that, I'm not quoting her now, I'm just saying, all of that means job losses and so on. And then go back to her. She says, who is calculating the real economic impact of COVID-19 on people's lives in this country? And she is so absolutely correct. And it's a matter we come here all the time and talk about a lot of job losses, a lot of people in what is called the informal sector and so on. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, good afternoon again, Mr. Ali. I don't like to keep calling back and saying anything, but that caller, why Mr. Robinson, the NAR didn't win in 1991 after the 86, and if they could have won, she would not use it. So she has to study that too. They come and they lose after.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you know, the truth of what that matter is Mr. Pandey brought, all parties brought a dividend to it, including the ONR of 1981 had gotten a lot of votes and no seats. All of that, Mr. Hudson Phillips brought the middle class, Mr. Robinson brought Tobago and so on. All of that was a composite party that led you.
Good afternoon, Ken and Ms.
Hi.
Duty. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about past politics, and it's stupid, I'm being honest, because I listen about stories about Mr. Pandey and the tyranny and the subsidies, and nobody's looking forward. 50,000 jobs, and the UNC talking about 50,000 jobs. People don't read the newspaper in between the lines, because when you read the newspaper, the good information is buried in the last line. The renewable energy sector had a webinar or some kind of...
Yes, just past.
You read that, Ken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ken, let me ask you something. What wanted to invest? That German company said they wanted to invest in companies that will invest in their own and also will share part of the partnership in renewable energy, and that they will invest in countries that have more realistic investments so that everybody could recoup and the dividend does not leave the country. See, this is a real fact. Pensions are worth billions of dollars, and they're invested in a larger pension fund and larger funds, hedge funds or whatever you call it, international, and that's how we get our investments here. Gas company, you know what they've been doing lately? And they're being sued in Washington, D.C. because they're telling people that there's no such thing as climate change. For years they did that, just like the tobacco company. And what they've done is they will move poor countries like ours new governments, and don't cut me off, Ken.
No, go ahead.
They go to poor countries like Nigeria, Africa, South America, and they're going to come to Guyana, and they offer trinkets, and in return, they pollute we water, they partner with shabby government, and these governments in turn get jobs for farmers in other first world countries. It never comes back to the soil. So I like what they're doing, but what these oil and gas companies are doing is they're buying up all these other company data. And that is what they're under scrutiny for too, because they still want to control the data on climate change. But renewable energy in this country is very important. And when they do come here, we have to have a government that is ready for all of us to invest. The government shouldn't just take the government pension fund and invest, because that's a whole to the formal economy, not the informal economy. And we're still going to be left out. So if these venture capitalists come here and they want to invest, and if we want to attract investors, sustainable growth in our own country, and I'm not hearing anything. The other thing I want to say is they were talking about Estonia. Can you read that article about Estonia?
No, I did not.
Yes, the government said there was a webinar, and the guy said, well, you know, in Trinidad and in other Caribbean countries, we are not in the infrastructure to have like online. You know, you need you have to have everybody involved in it. Estonia is very corrupt. They're very racist now. They have a very right-wing government entity working with Nazism. They're not like us. They are landlocked. We are not. See, we tend to go to other countries that are so different, but we just look at the economy, we're not looking at the culture. And I feel like I'm not hearing anything from the party, and I support the UNC because I'm trying to find somebody to support and say, can we do something to change? But I keep hearing the same rhetoric, and we're going back. Yeah. They doesn't have a dream for this country.
Well, you're on the right road with the matter of the energy. Well, listen on the radio. I'll share my thoughts on that. And thank you very much for your call. Now, was this a discussion earlier this week with respect to renewable? One, we're way behind the curve on that. Ralph Maraj has been talking about that. More than that, all of that in the context of what is happening. The 8th plant at Point Lisas, an ammonia plant, has now shut down. We are more than 40% shut down, and a primary reason is the natural gas price, which we have. Petrotrin remains down, oil and gas production remains down, and so on and so forth. We are almost exiting the energy industry, our energy age. And while that is happening, not enough measures, or absolutely no measures really, workable measures have been put into effect now. Put that in a political context. What are the political promises? Now, the UNC has indicated a few measures, but it is not just, we just can't simply say we'll open back Petrotrin. We have to have an overall master plan for the energy sector. I don't know if I've seen that. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ken.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, I hear that the Bullfisher program comes from 9.
Yes.
From tomorrow.
I hope the program doesn't mean as it was from 6 previously, where they have families and who cook what, and people want to bash one another thing on the radio station and get it as professional and allowing everybody to have the say as professional and listen as your program.
Well, so thank you for your observation. We listen to all views, but that's all we could say on that matter. For now, as Forrest Gump said, that is all I have to say on that matter. All right, I want to give you an update. I'm surprised that nobody has asked for an update on Guyana. So I am trying to do that. I mean, and I could understand people not asking for an update. It's very frustrating hearing the state of the.
It seems like it's more of the same.
Yeah, more of the same. All right. Well, the big news story in the Starbrook News is where I am now. Is not good news. The death and 24 other persons lost their homes. Origin destroyed a Cummings Lodge, East Coast Demerara apartment complex last night. So very sad. in Guyana. Right? Family of 3 burned to death, several houses burnt. Right. In terms of the politics, Granger assures commitment to U.S. ties amidst growing calls by Western allies for him to concede defeat at the March 2nd elections. Caretaker President David Granger has reaffirmed Guyana's commitment to Western hemispheric values. Just reading, you know, and so on and so forth. It is the latest in terms of the Guyana state of affairs. That matter hold up in court and so on. It's really sad that in this modern time, the state of affairs in Guyana is as bad as it is. 12:31, we continue to take your calls. We go until 1 p.m. 636-7547-227-5739. We don't take enough time and to tell our listeners we're very grateful for on Sundays by far, and also during the week. We're here Monday to Thursday, and I are here Monday to Thursday. We have a new colleague, Shiva, who has us on youtube.com, RCLU 9. Acknowledge them. We try to probably read some more as we go on. But we thank you very much for being with us day in and day out. We also on our website, 975radio.com. And if you are on something called Garden Radio, which has literally all the radio stations in the world, we are also pick us up. So we are here, there, and everywhere, and we plan to be giving you much more as we head to general election 2020, which everybody is saying on in some way to the SEA. And again, I think the leadership of the tutor has been making some very strong arguments for putting back the SEA exam. Of course, the government has decided they would not do that, but there are a number of powerful reasons why. From an educator's point of view, now from a parent's point of view, you may want to have the exam, I don't know how parents are thinking, but you may want to have it earlier rather. But I think the teachers are saying, here's what. They have the school-based assessment matter to be sorted out. They have this matter of the students and the teachers being reacclimatized again. You know, when you spend a long time on vacation, remember your school days? And when you go back to school, you need a little time to catch yourself.
Readjust.
To readjust and so on.
New climate, new environment.
All of that. So the teachers are saying, listen, there's a psychological readjustment and thing. And at every turn, Dr. Rowley has been saying, we are not moving from this data and so on. And I think all of this ties in to his plan in terms of the general election. And the education sector are paying the price for Dr. Rowley's political agenda. Well, we'll see how that will turn out. On another matter, and the issue with respect to COVID-19, a lot of cases still in the U.S., a lot of cases, on that front, I don't see Dr. Rowley opening our borders anytime soon. So therefore, there could be an election where we would have to deal with only those who are here. We don't have this thing with mail-in votes and so on. So all those who are in Trinidad and Tobago would get a chance to exercise their franchise. As
the election is December. I still hold it will be December.
Is when?
December.
And
that is my prediction.
Why do you say that?
Okay.
Why do you say that?
Oh, well, because they entitled this thing. But of course, if it's December, the ruling PNA will have to do a budget in October.
And how are they going to do that?
But that's it. I know a lot of people feel they're trying to avoid the budget.
No, but that's not. Here's what. Legally and constitutionally, I don't want to say constitution. Legally, we must have a budget by October.
Right.
So how you're saying this government is going to, while it is still in office before the next general election, is that what you're saying?
Is that if election in December, you will have to present a budget in October. Once September 30th reached, you have to present last budget. Last year was done in sometime in October. So I'm saying my prediction is still December, subject to be wrong, and I predict that they will have to present a budget.
Well,
so the budget price they're using, I don't know with the oil and gas. As you know, said that apparently we kind of moving away from this.
Okay, thank you.
One last.
Yes.
The whistleblower legislation, they have a way they always look across at the opposition and taunt them that whistleblower will cause things like the Cambridge Analytica people to come out and be brave. My thing about that is that every time people come out with this whistleblower thing on basic things like the tent in Mount Hope and the immigration officers leaking certain information, they always get a letter that goes on their file. So they could come out with information. They're being threatened. And it happened twice with the Mount Hope employees and the immigration officers. With Dulcie Rodriguez and with the tent. I know the tent had some other problems with the figure being wrong and everything, but I don't see how this government going to promote whistleblower legislation when they're always being threatened, whoever it is. So I don't know where to take on whistleblower. But
yeah, I'll talk about that just now. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. You know, I am convinced that a lot of these measures, so about whistleblower, no effort made with respect to that. I'm not a betting person, but if I were a betting person, I'd say it will come back in this manifesto. What about campaign finance reform? They promise us that too. They promise us updated legislation for the relationship with Tobago. They promise us the procurement regime and much more, none of which came to pass. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Ken.
Good afternoon.
I disagree with that call. That election call before. I want to read no budget for this country. So the amount of austerity measures
that's the point. That's the point. Yes.
People will have a country knows the story they face. I tell you. This is a serious thing going on in this country, and the Minister of Finance brings shenanigans to people.
And we bring people on this program all the time to make those points. In fact, Vas and Barrett continuously make that point. Go ahead.
I was on another station, Mr. Ali, and he was saying that this sham that we borrowed $500 million. I wasn't warranted at all. And the Minister of Finance was very untruthful with what he was doing.
Well, we had that discussion over the past few days also.
Right.
500 million US.
And he was money first person of voice open, but he ain't nobody else saying anything.
And to what use is that money being put? You know, we have borrowed $6 billion with a B, US, in the last few months. Where that money gone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where that money? Where's the accounting for it? Go ahead.
And people don't realize this man kicked out and borrowed $26 billion. And he do like Harry Houdini, and he take all that piece of butter sandwich and all gone, you know. The money disappeared, and nobody calling and saying anything about these things. Somebody had to pay for that.
Absolutely. We are saying that. Thank you very much. We are saying that over and over. Where is the money going? Where is the accountability for it? I'm not hearing enough opposition voices on that. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Triple D. Yeah. A partner of mine went last week in the Ministry of Labour, right? To get an update on truck drivers in Canada. And you know what they told him?
What they told him?
They said the minister everything in place, everything. But just he went off kick, right?
All right. And you believe that?
You believe that?
Well, I don't know. That sounds like a Sunday joke to me. We're hearing that for nearly 5 years now.
5 years.
And that is easy to research. Let me tell you, that is easier than you think to research. I'm going to get some information on that, and we'll talk about that tomorrow for sure. You see how the politicians play games with us. And, you know, we talk about, and I promise that here, we will come as we head to the election and talk about unfulfilled manifesto promises. And you folk, Labour, who promised to update legislation, and Rudy Anderson speaks to us on that matter. And then we have callers. I know there's one of our callers who has been agonizing over the non-performance of this Minister of Labour. We will hold each minister to account, all aspects of the manifesto. I promise you that. Yes, sir.
When I call her, she did the Minister of Labour, when she retired, she taken up the first truck driving and working in Canada.
She going to drive truck up in Canada? All right. Well, you know, the old people say, when you can't laugh, what is it? When you can't cry, you have to laugh or something like that. Thing is so serious, really. And this Minister of Labour has been a tragedy, really, starting from the fact that she didn't have time to meet the operators of ArcelorMittal, one of the largest multinationals in the world, who could do a whole lot for us. And she didn't have time. Maybe they would have shut down anyway and moved the plant elsewhere. But our government didn't have time. And in this, just hold a second. This government, part of its performance is the fact that it got no direct foreign investment in 5 years. And in addition to that, like Lever Brothers and ArcelorMittal and several others, close up shop and they head out of the country. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ken, again. The interview with Ms. Geraldine John, the Deputy Leader of the UNC. I don't know, based on what you know talking about here, about lack of accountability, were you able to ask Julian why the opposition is so silent and not speaking about the campaigning using state funds?
Yes. I asked her.
Did ask.
I asked her directly on that. Well, you know what? Anne is going to put that interview on
tomorrow
on our social media. You listen to it and you form a judgment. I don't want to interpret, but there's an issue we are agitating about here, and so on. So, but we didn't ask her.
And she said basically that they're looking at it, right? That's what she said?
She said it would be revealed on the good judgment of the political leader.
Oh, diplomatic, thanks.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Ken and Anne. I want to make another comment. I think Ms. Kamala Bissesta made a right move by not acknowledging or even making a comment about MP Munilal's presentation in Parliament. It seems like that attack between Mr. Munilal and the Prime Minister is very personal. The Prime Minister, if he was downright racist, I think he would know, but we know he detests Mr. Munilal. We know that there's another attorney that was Ian Allen's lawyer. He cannot stand that guy. He just detests that guy, and he makes it publicly.
Gerald Ramdeen?
Yes. Oh my God. He when the Prime Minister speaks about Gerald Ramdeen, he starts to foam in the mouth. I mean, it's that kind of feeling you get. But I think she did the right thing by not commenting, because let him battle his own. Let Mr. Munilal battle his own charges, and state his case. We all know that every Senator Mark was like that, as people said. I've never seen him, but I know that this Bridget Anna said George is very biased, and she does the same thing in the Joint Select Committee. She always bows down and gives them whatever they want. These enterprise that come in with family and friends that work for them. But I think the UNC has to really vet their people and show that we are going to win your trust, and that we are not going to come in with dirty hands. We are coming in with clean hands and a clean slate. And with board, we're not going to go back and resurrect stuff from 10, 20 years ago. We need to now think about 10 and 20 years ahead, because the whole Caribbean is changing and we're still fighting old politics. And what did you say? I
wanted to ask you a question, but complete your point and then I'll ask you.
I was going to say, because we're so busy fighting old politics that we're not being aware of changes that are happening with the first world countries when they're investing here. And only the elite knows what's happening. So we don't get the news until it's late.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, as a keen observer on the politics, are we voting on issues in the country?
No, we're not. And I am so surprised that we vote based on personal opinions. And
prejudices.
What do you say?
And prejudices. We have certain prejudices.
Very much so. I even in my own community, people are racist, and when you say prejudice, we're going to talk about race relations and also income, because there's a new place that opened up in that new water park. I wonder how poor people will. You know what I mean? You can't go to certain malls in Trinidad. They look at you and they treat you like nothing. And I feel like we need to move beyond that if we want to rise up, And I feel like we don't get it from the government. They encourage, and the UNC, Ms. Bissesta, has the opportunity now to bring women and children, poor women and children, poor small businesses, and even I don't want to see that Rampasad guy cleaning a drain. The councillor for my area. I want to see him working with what we write. You know what I mean? Empower us so we could rise up and know what we're doing, not show me how to clean this drain. I could do that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much. We continue to take your calls until the 1 p.m. hour. This country has a debt now of $125 billion. We have mortgaged the future of our great-grandchildren, and those are issues we must talk about. And the state of the economy. This has to be an election.
Good afternoon, Ken.
Good afternoon.
I want to know if the U.S. waiting until the horse run away from the stable, and then they will try to get people in line. Because all this action that took place with that gas deal, piece by piece, you see, it was a well-planned operation.
Yes.
And U.S. money was used. The U.S. dollar, and when you use the U.S. dollar for anything that is not legal, the U.S. could deal with you. I don't know what is the keep back with the U.S. We done all the work talk, all the parliament quarreling and rambling.
Well, you know,
Put on the clip on them boys now.
Yeah, you know, I feel U.S. is first. The U.S. does things in a very systematic and orderly way, and do not rule out personal sanctions. I don't think they will create sanctions on Trinidad and Tobago, but do not. You see how they put sanctions on Maduro and others? It is not far-fetched to anticipate that would happen here.
Yeah, put it on the boys' club and done with the worries in Trinidad, because this peace will be you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for putting that on the agenda. You're right. The U.S. takes its time, and it's very thoughtful in terms of how it does things in a procedural way. Good afternoon to you. Hi.
Only one concept way to do, and that's for you. Thank you.
Okay. Are you there?
Hear you.
Yeah, I didn't hear you well. I think he was talking about fake oil. Elaborated a bit more. Good afternoon to you.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Kennedy. Let's look at you.
Hi.
Yeah,
the Sanko Road. All right, we just want to remind you, and tells me that Captain Kendall comes up after we leave here at 1 p.m. Great music. You're going to enjoy that. We have great music throughout the evening. So Captain Kendall follows us at 6. We remind you, tomorrow morning, 6 to 9, Nicole Duki joins Kenrick Jagannath on the early morning talk show, in which they fill you with the details of the day, so you get a great start to the day on the issues. At 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow, and during that, of course, and then Mukesh with his distinctive laugh and the bull pistol. He is back at 6 p.m. Good afternoon to you.
Mr.
Yes. You only talk about Mukesh.
As you speak about Mukesh.
Yes. Go ahead, Kimauti.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
All of you do a very great job in U97.5.
Thank you very much.
Very great job.
Feel free to call us 6367547 2275739. We plan over the next few days to focus again on the politics, the candidates, the issues, and the procurement regimen. You know, the government doesn't answer to that, but procurement regimen and the campaign finance reform, no campaign finance reform. And, you know, I asked Ms. John about this matter, but the government is some to the parliament, and I'm saying again that they're subverting the electoral process by using that for campaign purposes. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Mr. Kennedy.
Yep.
If you can remember when the PNM came into power, the business sector, Mr. Dr. Merchant Association, study economy. And all the mama guys said that with our money for 3 days, but they never really gave us declared the status of the economy, how much money we had here, anything in it. They just mouth-monger the last government, but we didn't get any figures. Well, we have so much here, we have so much
and
here.
You continue to, you know, I'm reading a report here. There is, you see, and the media continues to report this. Here's the opening paragraph in a story in The Guardian today. The byline is Raphael John Lala, journalist. Here's the headline: $84 million cancer facility launched in St. James. Now,
I glimpsed about it. I didn't know
in this election silly season, everything is, please say he'd always he's a politician first. It says government could have spent more money on equipment to treat cancer had it not been for past corruption, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said yesterday. No. A daily newspaper, that's how you report. If you want to make a statement like that, the PNM government, this government has spent over the last 5 years
from the public, where at the close of where the government closing up there,
and we make
a breakdown of figures of how much money was detailedly spent and so we can compare it with the last spending and see if we get more value for money here or there.
And let me also say this.
But no, we don't demand that the citizens.
Yeah, thanks. Let me also say this. I'm saying this in a serious and a sober way. Cancer is a major cause of death in this country. I don't know if anybody, well, let me change that. Let me say many people have been at Mount Hope. That center, we have abolished that. We did some preliminary work and so on. Now we've set up a St. James facility, cost $84 million, which is not sufficient for treatment. Cancer has to be pre-treatment. It has to be post-patient. There's a whole lot. Cancer takes a lot of victims in this country. I was reading a story yesterday and about a young guy with a rare form of leukemia. He needs $2 million. the fella proposed to his wife on, to his fiancée on, I don't want to say his deathbed, but on his hospital bed, and so on. And while a number of people who have died through the years when this country had a lot of money, oil and gas, and people never got the treatment they deserve for cancer care. Only on, and so on. But anyway, I know he talks about the vision, about early detection, and so on. People, so many people. Anyway. 5 minutes to the hour of 1 p.m. We can still take your call as we head to 1 p.m. on this Sunday. It's a pretty cold Sunday and in this part of the country. And we thank you very much for being with us. We, like we tell you, Captain Kendall takes over in the next few minutes. And all the excitement is about Mukesh. I think the only person a little more excited than Mukesh is Kimauti, our dear friend Kimauti, because Mukesh is going to be back 6 to 9. He says a lot of the old features and so on. So and being a part of his program, and then we have a new colleague on mornings, Nicole Duki, along with Kenrick Jagannath. Great, and we've had great music over the last few days. We are monitoring this week what is going to happen with the Parliament. The Parliament is due to be dissolved sometime in the month of July, and the Prime Minister may then instruct. What he has to do is advise the President to issue a writ for the election. Now, 14 days after he dissolves the Parliament, there is nomination. That is the general election. So 35 days. We could, once he dissolves the Parliament, we could be, he doesn't have to name the date right away, but we could be from that 35 days away from the election. Good afternoon.
I'll make it very quick, Ken, and I'll end with that quickly. The Prime Minister wrote a Facebook post, and in the Facebook post he was correcting a newspaper about publishing misinformation about the plant, and he said, if you're writing articles about it just trivializes the whole thing. I don't know why the Prime Minister made that comment. Anyway, that was my
I felt so too. I felt so.
Right?
I will comment on it just now. Good afternoon to you. Hi, good afternoon. You need to call us back. All right. That matter. I saw that, and I say, I think people, the fact that country continues to criticize the Prime Minister for his temperament, this matter in which he attacked Gabriel Faria and thing, and everybody saying, oh gosh, and thing, the Express wrote a stinging editorial about him, sort of vitriolic language, and then he said, you know what, boy, again, all these blows for how I just be attacking people for no reason. Look what I don't want blows again. The Guardian, the Express had a brilliant editorial with a headline, trying to remember that headline, it was in which I criticized him. Listen, what are you going on so for? This man, Gabriel Faria, write a thing to his the Prime Minister sit down and say, you see what, boy, election coming. Listen, the last 5 years, and what is at the back of my mind in making this point, is in 2015, on the eve of the election, he got PR handler, and they put him sit down quietly and so on, and they were asking him nice questions, and he was polite and things. But the real Dr. Rowley's temperament later emerged. So I think that's what happened with this tree. So he put this thing and said, listen, man, we misidentified a tree, a flowers plant. Oh God, Dr. Rowley, we see through all of that. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon. Well, we lost you. All right.
Time for us to
yeah. So that's how I make out this thing with Dr. Rowley and the tree. All right. And somebody could comment on that. We've got to go quickly. We now starting to have fun. But we aim, God willing, to be back here at 3 p.m. tomorrow to resume the discussions. The calls are coming in, but we've got to go. Our friend and colleague, Captain Kendall, takes over at top of the hour with great music and great entertainment throughout the course of the afternoon. On behalf of Anne, on behalf of Shiva Parasram, who's had it on YouTube, RCLU 975. We thank you very much for your company over the past 3 hours. We thank you for your calls and your messages. We do the best we could to acknowledge as many as possible. We want to reconvene tomorrow and discuss again the issues of the day, but long before that, remember Kenrick and Nicole Duki tomorrow morning 6 for being with us. Be safe, drive courteously, drive defensively and cautiously. Remember that caller who told us about this reckless driver and killed 2 innocent motorists. Please drive cautiously. Let's look out for one another. Have yourselves a wonderful afternoon.